لما امشي. فربنا يوفقنا.
Welcome back and continuing our special coverage for the inauguration of a number of desert cultivation and land reclamation projects in Toshka region in Aswan. To shed more light on that issue, we are very much delighted to be joined over the phone by Dr. Youmn Hamaki, Professor of Economics. Good afternoon to you, Dr. Youmn.
Good afternoon.
Dr. Youmn, the significance and importance of this inauguration today for many projects that included the Toshka El Khair scheme.
Actually, the main meaning behind it is nowadays Egypt is going towards structural reform, which means that we have finished with infrastructure, transportation, energy, and
yes.
this is paving, all these projects are paving the way for investment and for real reform in different
yes.
economic sectors like the agriculture, industrial, as well as information technology. From here it comes the importance of these inaugurations to prove that we are moving intensively towards land reclamation. We need to increase, the land reclamation so that to increase the production, agricultural production for several reasons. First of all, to achieve food security, which is essential, and even most countries of the world nowadays can witness that the prices of food products, have increased significantly. So with the population of 100 million, it's quite important to achieve food security. And this is quite important. Another part is regarding that the agriculture sector can play a significant role in exportation. Our export from agricultural products has increased significantly during the last 2 years. And a third advantage is actually by using, the output of agricultural production to be manufactured in the industrial sector. And this is increasing the competitiveness of the industrial sector. So all this, need from us to take care of, land reclamation and increasing the surface of land directed for the agriculture sector. And what happened in Egypt during the last period, that Egypt has widened, the opportunities of exploiting resources in the agriculture sector. We have the presidential a program which is putting 4 and 5 million fatens to be added to the agricultural surface in Egypt. And I believe nowadays we have Sinai, we have Upper Egypt, we have New Valley. So all these areas are representing, wide areas to be used in agricultural production.
Yes, indeed. Dr. Youmn, the President dedicated this week for the inaugurations of the mega projects in Upper Egypt. How do you see the significance of these projects on the different levels, agricultural, roads, access, and many more? So how do you see the developments here of Upper Egypt on the different levels?
Upper Egypt actually gains momentum in Egypt. Why? We have in Upper Egypt the highest rates of poverty and unemployment. And due to that, we have to enhance the capabilities of, production and opening opportunities of job for youth and people living in Upper Egypt. And from here it comes the importance of enhancing investment. And I believe that the infrastructures that have been done during the last period may enable us to open, horizons, large horizons for investments in different sectors like what we have seen in this inauguration for the past days and for today, industrial clusters, and to how extent we can enhance the local contents of our industrial sector. Other incentives for the informal sector to redirect into the formal sector, which is gaining importance in Egypt this period. So all these projects that are inaugurated in Upper Egypt, proving different messages that we are taking care of the private sector. The private sector should lead economic development and economic growth in Egypt, and facilities are going to be offered for the private sector, and in all types of encouragement from the government for the private sector to sustain such sector under the belief that the private sector is the only sector capable to generate opportunities of jobs through investment.
Yes. Doctor, how do you see here the statements that the President highlighted in many occasions last week, today, regarding the importance of the role here played by the private sector in collaboration with the state in order to come out with these mega projects? How do you see the importance of the statements by the President regarding the role of the private sector?
Actually, yesterday the President, mentioned a very important fact, which is that despite that the government taking lead in several mega projects, but they are using the private sector for implementation, which means that there is a type of cooperation between the private and the public sector. And due to that, a large number, billions of Egyptian pounds have been dedicated for the private sector to implement such projects. So this type of partnership between the private and public sector is quite essential nowadays for Egypt.
Yes.
It's not only for such mega projects, but it could be extended towards using the capabilities of the public sector companies existing in Egypt. All over Egypt, we have different, buildings that are not used, and factories are not used with very low capabilities and for production. So I believe that by supporting such kind of cooperation between private and public sector, Egypt can do a lot.
Yes. Dr. Youmn, also the President said that for the first time in history, 500,000 of fiddans in Sinai will be cultivated, and 200 billion pounds are needed for the reclamation of the 1 million fiddans. How do you see this now, and how do you see that large amount of money invested in the cultivation fields?
Actually, Sinai representing a very, very precious part for all Egyptians. So when we talk about, moving population towards Sinai and attracting investment towards Sinai, and people can go and live there and find opportunities of job, this is a matter of national security for Egypt. So I believe that all this activities can play a significant role for Egypt. And, when I am as a professor in university, I'm asking my students, if you can find an opportunity of job in Sinai, you would like to go there. And they are all quite, happy, and they are answering that a big yes, we would like to go there and find the opportunities of job and to live there. So, we have to encourage our youth to benefit from such opportunities. And this is what our President has mentioned regarding the 4 clusters for projects, agricultural projects. The government is going to make the infrastructure regarding the project, regarding all the facilitation needed for the project, like for agriculture, providing water and providing, homes for people that they are going to live there. So, and facilities like all facilities for people to live there. So, I believe that by doing that, we can attract and nowadays we have the, people are completely condemned in a very small surface of Egypt. So by having such opportunities, I believe this is going to be quite good for people to go there and find opportunities. Like for Upper Egypt nowadays, Upper Egypt was a place from used to go out from it. Nowadays, I believe that it's going to be a place to go in.
Yes. Dr. Youmn also during his speech before the inauguration, head of the engineering authority of the armed forces, General Ihab al-Far, said that many goals have been achieved, including limiting the import of the strategic goods. How do you see this very important step?
Would you please repeat the question?
Yes. During the inauguration, the head of the engineering authority, General Ihab al-Far, said that the state has implemented many projects, including the agricultural scheme, in order to achieve the goal of limiting the import of strategic goods. How do you see this step?
I think that this is quite important, as I mentioned before, the agriculture sector is playing a significant role for the Egyptian economy. And, we have, what is quite good for Egypt nowadays is using the scientific approach, which means that we nowadays have studies regarding each land, in different areas, what are the most important crops that can be cultivated and can be economic. So feasibility studies are done so that when we offer investors, we are offering a complete project that is feasible. This project, can help a lot to attract, investment, either they are foreign or local investment. And I believe this is the cornerstone for any development in Egypt nowadays to increase investment, and with investment we can find opportunities of job. But we have to take care, here from a challenge confronting, that which is upgrading the skills of our labor power. Nowadays we have most of people living in Upper Egypt. Actually, they are graduates from technical schools, which necessitate, more training to upgrade their skills so that they can cope with, the opportunities of job, because such opportunities actually are using the best technology. So we need high-skilled labor to cope with these opportunities. And I believe this is a very important task and challenge as well that we have to address properly.
Yes. Also, the president during the event inaugurated the Toshka East Al Uwainat road through video conference. How do you see here the development of the roads and the access that have been taking place throughout the past few weeks or few months, and we are still witnessing more, Dr. Youmn?
Actually, all these access are quite important. Why? Because as I mentioned, each of these surfaces can produce different agricultural products that are quite important, either for to be used in manufacturing or for exportation. And nowadays the main challenge for Egypt is the technology. How to use our scientific researches, our studies. We have from these studies a lot, but it needs to be commercialized. And this is what we are working on it nowadays. So to commercialize such projects, we need to be tested first, and we have a pilot, and then to be, implemented in real life. So this is actually a very important step that should be taken properly.
Yes. Also, the treated wastewater at Bahr al-Baqar station is reportedly used in the cultivation of lands. How do you weigh this step?
This is quite important because you cannot cultivate land without water, and Egypt nowadays having scarcity in water, and the project of Bahr al-Baqar actually is representing a very important horizon towards providing water necessary for Sinai, large part of land to be cultivated there. So without securing, the water for the agriculture sector, you cannot follow and implement these projects.
Yes, indeed, Dr. Youmn Hamaki, Professor of Economics, thank you very much for your very precious input. Our dear viewers, a short break, and after that we'll be back with our special coverage, so stay tuned on Nile TV International.
أنا عايز أقول لأهلنا في الصعيد وللمصريين اللي بيسمعونا، لما تم إنجازه في السنين السبعة اللي فاتوا دول، ده يتعدى سنوات طويلة جدا من العمل والإنفاق عشان يحقق أحلامنا ويحقق طموحاتنا فيما يخص التنمية والخدمات والبنية الأساسية والتعليم وكل ما بنتمناه لمصر. ثقافة البناء على الأراضي الزراعية،
الأرض دي لما اتبنت عليها بالمنظر ده، النهاردة علشان أروح أعمل استصلاح في أرض زراعية واضطر أمول هذه الاستصلاح واضطر أعمل تجمعات للناس، كل ده النهاردة عبء تمويلي ضخم جدا جدا.
احنا جادين قوي في مواجهة تحدياتنا.
الوضع ده فين الأرض الزراعية اللي جنب النيل اللي المفروض تتزرع عشان تطلع خير للمواطنين، وإزاي ده يعني في سنتين ثلاثة الأرض دي هتختفي؟
الأرض الزراعية اللي موجودة معاك هي فرصة عمل متاحة. لما بتحولها لسكن كده بتبقى انت فقدت نفسك فرصة العمل ديت، حتى لو كانت فرصة العمل ديت مش غالية قوي.
العملية بقت معقدة، عملية أرض تناقصت، عملية إنتاج زراعي تناقص.
قضية خطيرة جدا جدا إن ما يكونش في أرضية فهم مشترك للواقع وأسبابه وكمان حله. النقطة الثانية ثقافة النمو السكاني، طفل واثنين وستة دون أن تقدر أنت هتقدر تصرف عليه إزاي أو تعلمه إزاي، لابد أن تتراجع.
يبقى أنا السنة دي عندي 2.25 مليون طفل جديد بيتولد.
طب أنا عندي 100 مليون عايز أعيشه، أعمل إيه؟
2.25 دولت احتياجاتهم فين؟ احتياجاتهم من الغذاء، احتياجاتهم من السكن، احتياجاتهم من الصحة، احتياجاتهم من التعليم.
وفي الآخر المواطن عايز يا دكتور مصطفى، عايز يعيش، وأنا كمان عايزه يعيش.
احنا كمصريين عندنا طموح وعاوزين بلدنا تكبر وعاوزين بلدنا ما يبقاش عندها مشاكل وعاوزين احتياجاتنا كلها تبقى موجودة.
هنخرج من اللي احنا فيه للي احنا بنتمناه لنفسنا ولبلدنا. أنا كمسؤول عنكم ما بيفكرش في حاجة فقط غير الحفاظ على الدولة المصرية، لأن احنا الحجم العمل المطلوب في مصر حجم ضخم جدا، وهنربح منه حاجة واحدة أقول لكم، هو رضا ربنا ورضاكم. عايز أفضل خدام لله وللناس لغاية لما أمشي، فربنا يوفقنا.